Hello children, now we are going to start further explanation of hearts and hand. Explanation of page number 71. Don't you worry about them, miss, said the other man. Here other man is glum-faced man. About them, this them is used for handcuff and miss is Miss Fairchild. So the glum-faced man said, Miss Fairchild, don't worry about handcuffs. All marshals handcuff themselves to their prisoners to keep them from getting away. It is a trend that all marshals had to handcuff their hand with prisoners other hand because that they may not escape or they may not run. Mr. Easton knows his business. This line had two meanings. As Miss Fairchild does not know that who Mr. Easton actually is. So for her, it means that Mr. Easton is Marshall and he knows his job very well. But for Mr. Easton, it means little bit different. That Mr. Easton is a convict and anytime he can escape. Will we see you again soon in Washington? Asked the girl. The girl or Miss Fairchild asked whether there is a possibility to meet again in Washington. Not soon, I think, said Easton. Then Easton replied, Not soon, he think. My butterfly days are over, I fear. And here again, this line had two meanings. For Miss Fairchild, this line means that Mr. Easton, as a marshal, is a very busy person and he may not get time to meet. Okay, maybe there is no possibility. But for Mr. Easton, it means that he is culprit and he is sentenced 7 years imprisonment. So he would be put behind the bars and he may not get any chance to meet any of his friend. I love the West, said the girl irrelevantly. Then the girl expressed her desire that she loved this place too much. Her eyes were shining softly, and there was a shine in her eyes. She looked away out the car window. Then, that moment, she looked out of the car window and she began to speak truly and simply without the gloss of style and manner. Without any formality, now she started speaking in a very simple manner. Now, what she said, Mama and I spent the summer in Denver. She went home a week ago because father was slightly ill. I could live and be happy in the West. Now, this she wants to mention that she was living in West with her mother. Okay, and she spent her summer time with her mother in Denver. But her mother, she went back home because her father was ill. And but here she says that I could live, but she is all happy in West. I think the air here agrees with me. Further, she mentioned that the air here means to say that the atmosphere it agrees with Miss Fairchild, means it is favorable. She is happy with her work, she is happy with the climate, she is happy with friends. Money is not everything, but people always misunderstand things and remain stupid. Further, she mentioned that money is not everything. That for me, money is not everything, but people misunderstand this thing that money is everything and whole life they remain stupid. Why she said this? Because for earning money only she left her home, and for earning money only Mr. Easton left his home. Okay, so this is a stupid idea that we leave our home for earning money. So this Fairchild wants to say. Say, Mr. Fairchild, growled the glum-faced man. Growled here means he spoke angrily. Glum-faced man spoke angrily. Mr. Marshall, this is not quite fair. Okay, that this is not quite fair. I'm needing a drink. I need a drink and have not had a smoke all day, and for a long time I had not smoked. So haven't you talked long enough? Now you had a long conversation with each other. It is time that I have to smoke. Okay, so take me to the smoker room now. I'm half dead for a pipe. Half dead for a pipe means I had a great desire for smoking. So take me to the smoker room. So smoker room is a place, children, where smoking is allowed. One can go there. The bound travelers rose to their feet. Bound here means to say the handcuffed travelers. They rose up to their feet. Easton with the same slow smile on his face, and Easton had the same smile on his face. Further, he mentioned, I can't deny a petition for tobacco, he said lightly, very lightly. He said that he can't deny a petition for tobacco. So, here again, this line had two meanings, that why he can't deny a petition for tobacco, because Mr. Easton is a convict, okay, and glum faced man is a marshal. So, he had to follow his orders. But for Miss Fairchild, he wants to say that as a good marshal, I have to fulfill prisoner's desire. It's the one friend for the unfortunate, and I'm too unlucky that he is my friend right now. Goodbye, Miss Fairchild. Then he bid goodbye to Miss Fairchild and further says, duty calls, that it is my duty which is calling me. So I have to leave. I have to take your leave. He held out his hand for a farewell. Then for again took his he put forward his hand to bid farewell to Miss Fairchild. It's too bad you are not going east, she said, reclothing herself with manner and style. Then Miss Fairchild said that it was really too bad that Mr. Easton was going to west. He was not coming to east. Reclothing with manner, it means to say that she again dressed herself properly. But you must go on to Leavenworth, I suppose. And again, she stopped her first statement and put her other statement that you must go on to Leavenworth, because according to Miss Fairchild, Mr. Easton is marshal and he is supposed to take that prisoner to Leavenworth prison. Yes, said Easton, I must go to Leavenworth. Yes, I have to go to Leavenworth because now again this line had two meanings. I must go on to Leavenworth according to Mr. Easton, that he is a prisoner and he has to go there. But according to Miss Fairchild, he is Mr. Easton is a marshal and he has to take the glum-faced men to prison. The two men sidled down the aisle into the smoker. Sidled here means to say that they walked in such a manner that one may not notice them. Okay, so very quietly they moved from that passage that one may not notice them. Explanation of page number 72. The two passengers in a seat nearby had heard most of the conversation. So, the two passengers who were seated nearby, they heard the conversation of the glum faced men, Mr. Easton, and Miss Fairchild. So one of the passengers said, that's Marshall, a good sort of chap. Good sort of chap means is too young. That Marshall is too young. Some of these Western fellows are all right, and only some Western fellows are all right. But here, pretty young to hold an office like that, isn't he? That this young man is too young to hold an office or to be a marshal. So in this age, one can't be a marshal. Then, young, exclaimed the first speaker. Why? Oh, didn't you catch on? Then another passenger, he interrupted. That young, you're talking about his age, exclaimed the first speaker. Why? You did not catch on. Catch on here means understand. That you did not understand. That did you ever know any officer to handcuff a prisoner to his right hand? Have you ever noticed any marshal who handcuff his right hand to prisoner's left hand? Is it possible? It means the passengers, they are trying to clarify the doubt regarding marshalship of Mr. Easton, and Miss Fairchild was listening all these explanations. So at last, finally, the truth was revealed that Mr. Easton was not actually a marshal, but he was a culprit. And the glum faced man was a marshal, not a culprit. So actually, Mr. Easton was being taken by glum faced man to Leavenworth prison for 7 years. And that's why Mr. Easton said that my butterfly days are over, because he would be kept behind the bars for 7 years. Children, there is irony, examples of irony. First example for irony: he is taking me to Leavenworth prison. It is 7 years for counterfeiting. Another example of irony: I had to do something. Mr. Easton told to Miss Fairchild. Okay, so this statement is also irony. Mr. Easton knows his business. This is again example of irony. My butterfly days are over, I fear. This is again example of irony. I can't deny a petition for tobacco. All these are the examples of irony which are given importance. Then dramatic irony, one example is there, that money is not everything, but people always misunderstand things and remain stupid. So this is example of dramatic irony. Now here, I think the air here agrees with me. This is personification. This is example of personification. Then there is one example of hyperbole. I am half dead for a pipe. This is example of hyperbole. Then children, you have to go through the theme also of this story. With this, the story is completed, and please try to attempt answers of those questions which are given in workbook. With this, I thank you.